But I put this shot of this photo up here. This is actually a screenshot from a YouTube video. 2010 family reunion. He's launching Tech Savvy Agent at Family Reunion, covering our event 2 years ago as Tech Savvy Agent, and is now the Chief Evangelist from Inman News, here to share how to really make your iPad close the deal.
What a baby.
Thank you.
I know.
Awesome. So we're going to, I guess today have a switcher. They're going to flip this over. Do I need to hit a button here, guys, to get to the iPad? Sure. Hit number 2? Cool. If I can't figure that out, I'm a fraud, right? So, you know, I have a good relationship with Apple. I make them a lot of money, and they don't give me anything in return. So they sent me a video, and this is the iPad 3. No one's seen it before. Check this out. I'm going to start the class with this. A lot of people know it's coming soon. Hopefully it's going to work here. Well, we're gonna cover should you wait, because that's a pretty common question. Here we go. Cool. Is that working? Here we go. Buffering. Gotta love that. That may not even be the right video anymore, to be honest. Hold on 1 second. There we go. Technical difficulties. If anyone tweets this, I'm going to be so upset.
He's looking at video and not tweeting.
So Apple sent us like a little demo. Check this out.
What's up, guys? I'm going to be showing you some cool features that we found in the iPad 2. One in particular is called the hologram setting, and I'll show you how to turn that on here. First, we're going to go to settings. We're going to go to general, and then go over here to restrictions, and turn this hologram setting on. And we're ready to go. I'm going to show you some of the good ones that I like. For example, we have photos. Open this up. We're going to grab a photo here too. We're going to open this up.
Sick, right?
Grab a black and white filter, and there we go.
Oh, wait till he takes out Facebook. Hold on.
You've edited. Another one is Facebook. Once you got it up, hit profile.
I mean, is that cool or
Scroll
what?
through here. Hit that.
And then I'll fast forward a little bit. This is how they show you how they
Scroll the
actually
pictures, so that's pretty sweet.
This is how they made the video. So certainly we don't have that quite yet, but do you guys think that's on the way? Seriously, is that not what's coming next? So that's CGI. I thought it was kind of funny to start with that. I'm actually going to get into my presentation here on the iPad. I'm going to go back to the beginning of it. It's usually a great place to start. There we go. As you can see, presenting on the iPad requires a little bit of practice, so that's what we're going to cover. So the first thing I wanted to cover are the questions that you guys ask me all the time online. The first one I get is, should I wait for the iPad 3? How many people want the answer? Raise your hand, please. Okay, yes, you should. It's coming out within about 30, 45 days, according to some really great resources. They're going to announce it March 4th or about there. 2 to 3 weeks after that, the iPad 3. Resolution is doubling from 1024 to over 2200. The casing for the iPad 3 most likely will be the same, so it'll feel the same, it'll be the same width. But how many of you guys will buy it no matter what it is? I will.
Come on, doesn't matter.
Which model should I buy? This one's big. 16 gig, 32 gig, or 64 gig? What do you guys think the answer is? Shout it out. 32. So 16, one guy, and everybody else at 64. So I'm going to argue that you should all get a 16 gig and use the cloud, okay? That's what eEdge is for. That's what Dropbox is for. I take a lot of pictures and videos on my iPhone. I think it's goofy as hell to take videos on your iPad. What do you guys think? It's just weird. So they have a new thing called, as Lisa Archer, the geeky girl, is videoing me on her iPad.
Absolutely. You wanted somebody to video you.
The other thing, so I'm totally sold on 16 gig for the iPad with a good knowledge of Dropbox and Evernote and eEdge. The other thing I'm looking at is Wi-Fi versus 3G. How many of you have a MiFi device? MiFi, raise your hand. Okay, you guys don't need 3G. If your hand didn't go up, you need 3G. So if you don't have a MiFi device that gives you internet, or if you can't tether from your phone, you better have a 3G if you're going to people's houses, if you're doing listing presentations and pulling up videos and stuff. And then, are there any other tablets worth looking at? How many of you guys have a non-Apple tablet? Raise your hand. Okay, you guys aren't going to like me. They're certainly worth looking at Best Buy. And then putting down and buying out. Okay? So a Kindle Fire can't do a listing presentation. a BlackBerry Playbook's a little too small. There are some Android tablets that are catching up quickly, and so I'm not going to totally say Android tablets aren't a great option, but there is one tablet besides the iPad 2 that I highly recommend, and it's the iPad 1. The next one, seriously. So here's what's going to happen. You guys all that bought the iPad 2, you want the 3, right? You guys all know how to use Craigslist. Ben Kinney's been teaching you, okay? Sell your iPad 2 on Craigslist for $300. You're only going to spend $200 to upgrade. I would budget a smartphone and a tablet a year right now, starting now into the future. The other stat there, 76, 14, 10. I want you guys to start thinking differently. As much as we talk about technology, 76% of agents in the percent of agents use paper for their listing presentation. 14% use a computer or some type of tablet. What do the other 10% do? They wing it. So that's fine, but we're going to go in and be different. So there's 2 apps that are great for presenting, and I'm going to kind of get a couple people mad at me here. I'm going to go ahead and make a big statement that Keynote is not the best presenting app on the iPad. I don't think you should create. Here's the problem. I'm going to prove this for you guys. Please raise your hand if you have an iPad and a PC. Please raise your hand. This is the challenge, you guys. You all have PowerPoint. You guys know how to build a PowerPoint, and then you email it to yourself, and you open it up in Keynote on the iPad, and it looks bad, and there's half the things are gone. So there's a great solution for this, you guys. It's called Slide Rocket. And what it does is it takes any presentation you've built. You shouldn't be building the presentations on the iPad. You should be presenting them and maybe editing them a little bit. Build them on your computer. The problem is PowerPoint doesn't talk real good to Keynote. So use Slide Rocket. Instead of it trying to import everything that's happening, it's actually going to take each slide as an image, and then it looks perfect. So I'm going to show you guys a little bit about Slide Rocket, because it is really neat. It's on the iPad. This is a presentation I built about YouTube, so it's very easy to use. Slide, slide. One of the things that's cool, you slide from the bottom up, and it brings up all your slides. So it's easy to get. You'll never lose any of the formatting. So a lot of those texts that I built that in would have misformatted had I tried to just upload it to my iPad. The other really cool thing, I know you guys love analytics. So what you can also do with Slide Rocket is embed these presentations on your blog or website, and it's going to dynamically track how many people are looking at them, but wouldn't it be cool to know where they live? You guys see this? So this is a presentation that's had 472 views. 450 were unique. 6 minutes and 55 seconds was the average time on this presentation. That's because this is on Inman Next as a blog post. Does that make sense? So it's helping you online and it's helping you in their living room. Anybody just learned something with Slide Rocket? Please raise your hand. Carrie, look around. Okay, cool.
I did.
All right, really quick, I do want to show a couple things with Keynote. Keynote's got some cool stuff. I was playing with it again last night, giving it another shot. Their charts and graphs and everything are really cool. What you would really want to do is work on this Get Started, because it has all these tips in here. Here's a couple examples of some things they do really well. So they do what's called transitions really well, okay? So we'll play this. And then when we swipe it, it's kind of neat. You'll see what'll happen. It'll swipe and it twists, right? So that's cooler than PowerPoint. This is a cube effect. Oops. That didn't do real good. Here's the page flip effect, right? This one's really neat, called Magic Move. It'll take all 3, and it'll move them over. Did it move them over, or did it jump over? So there's all kinds of cool effects on the Keynote. This is one of my favorite ones. They do something called builds. So you need to learn how to use transitions and builds if you're going to use Keynote. Who has a MacBook of some sort and an iPad? You guys might want to think about Keynote because you're building it in the native program. There are a couple little issues, but it's not nearly as bad. So this is cool. It's called Pop. This one's called Twirl or Drop. You know, it's got some other kind of effect that flash bulbs in, hopefully. Right? I mean, there's some cool stuff you can do, right? But for me, my favorite presenting app is the one that I'm presenting to you guys in, which is called Prezi. And the reason I love it is because I think it's cinematic. And it differentiates you. So you have Slide Rocket, Keynote, or Prezi. If you're giving a listing presentation, choose one of the 3. Next, I want to get into practicing a listing presentation and losing your virginity the right way, okay? How many of you have given one in a living room to get a listing? Please raise your hand. iPads. How many of you have an iPad, but be honest, you've never gone into a living room and given a listing presentation on it? So this is going to be a little weird. Have you guys seen Ricky Bobby? Where he's like, where do I put my hands? You know, do I put them up here? Where do I put them, you know? So it's awkward. Are you going to stand behind the lady and hand her the iPad and she's going to swipe it? Are you going to swipe it? Are you going to hold it? So here's what I would advise you guys do. Call your MAPS coach and play with it. Practice giving presentations. I'm highly recommending that you guys do some role playing. And I'm not talking about that, right? I'm talking about... I'm talking about two people in an office, and you're going to give a listing presentation, and all those little awkward things where your hands go, and, you know, did I remember to put gum in? That needs to be addressed at the office or with your coach at MAPS, not necessarily the first time you go to a living room. So practice is really critical. Here's another really cool thing. You guys are going to absolutely flip out. I'm a big fan of data and graphs and charts, but I want to open your mind to something called Graphs 2.0. Charts 2.0. I'm kind of hoping to term that phrase today. In the past, we had Web 1.0. Things weren't really interactive. Unfortunately, the charts and graphs in our industry are still very much Web 1.0. So I'm going to show you guys a really cool option for the iPad that I think you should all consider doing your data in because it's Web 2.0. It's called Rowambi. Did anybody here ever have a shoebox with all their clients in it? Be honest. Anybody? Like an index card shoebox filled? So this is kind of neat. Doesn't it kind of look like a shoebox? So if your data isn't interactive, you need some new data. Check this out. I want to look at the Cocoa Beach outlets and compare that to maybe the neighborhood across the street, and then we'll bring in a couple other neighborhoods. So you have every neighborhood, every zip code, all your data. All you have to do to get the data in Rowambi is upload a CSV file. So you don't have to know how to build all these things. You just put it in the right columns, and they'll build the data. Then we go into it a little deeper, and we can compare. So see how it's interactive, you guys? Let me go on the left. So I can move it. Does anybody think that this is better than a PowerPoint graph? Right? Is this kind of neat, you guys? It's ROA, thank you. ROA, hold on. ROAMBI, Rowambi. So think about Graphs and Charts 2.0. I want to know what the market's going to be like 1 year from today. I want to compare that to last year. I want to be able to do all this on my iPad. And I want to do it from my ex-wife's house. Not even have an ex-wife. That's a good joke, though. So think about that, you guys. People need to be able to manipulate and play and touch and feel it. I touched an iPad and I liked it. How about you guys? Right? Seriously. So a couple other tips here. Google it. Don't get back to it. You guys that have a PC and an iPad, I can picture you with your printed presentation, like you said, the laptop's in the bag. Imagine if a client says, hey, I had a couple questions about something. Does that ever happen, you guys? Do they ever ask questions that you don't know the answer to? So here's a site for that, Google. But the difference is Apple has something called Instant On. You don't open your computer and wait 45 minutes for everything to load. Right. You're in the presentation, they have a question, you hop out. You go to Safari, you go to google.com, and you search. That's all you have to do. There is nothing you guys can't answer at the appointment. And the more questions you answer and address in the moment, please let me find that out and get back to you out of your vernacular. What are you going to do? Go back to your office and get on your computer and find out? It doesn't make any sense to me. Find out right when they ask. YouTube and Google are probably the best two places for that. So graphs and charts can get better. Don't Google it. Don't get back to it. And then as far as coffee being for closers, has anybody ever seen Glengarry Glen Ross? You know, we don't live in a world anymore where 4 people come into our living rooms and we interview 4 different agents. The last thing I want in the world is more than one person coming to my home that I barely know, much less lining up these interviews. Most people are bringing you in there not to mess it up. And if you'll answer their questions, present passionately, and ask for the business, guess what will happen? You'll get it. So how do you do that? E-edge, click to sign, .blue. Have we answered all your questions today? Are you excited about getting your home on the market right now? All you have to do is press this button and we have an agreement to list the home with each other. It's just that easy, you guys. So Carrie and everybody at Keller put a bunch of resources into eEdge. That's part of the reason why. They're talking mobile, they're talking tablets, they're talking e-signatures. That's why I love coming to their conferences. Last thing really quickly, if you're in the room right now, please go to facebook.com/Inman Next. There have been more than 10 billion apps that have been downloaded to date. I basically came up with what I would consider to be the best 20. There's a full training and a slide deck. Anybody that writes on our Facebook wall, say, hey Chris, I saw your presentation. You know, you were really charming and funny and everything like that. Is there any way I could get the list of all the apps that you think are the 20 best? I'll provide that for you guys on Facebook. That's all I got. Thank you guys so much.